ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله قاصم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك النهارين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأطهرين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأرضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين بتراب قدمه الفداء، ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وناصر حقوقهم ومن في فضائلهم ملعونين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra al-Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of Yawm al-Hameen, of the graves of Shuhada al-Awan al-Siddiqeen, for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam al-Awwal, please recite your loudest salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Continuing our discussion on Dua Iftitah and seeing what lessons we can take from the du'as, because in reality sometimes what we seem to forget is that the du'as may be something that allow us to converse with Allah in the best of ways. And the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those that are the friends of Allah, they know the best way to converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence why we use these pre-written du'as from the imams and from the awliya. But the aim, if we look at it by the teachers of akhlaq or the teachers of mysticism, is that your aim actually isn't what you're asking for. It's a difficult concept to grasp. What you are asking for is not your aim. The aim is proximity to Allah. And you just use this as a way to be able to converse with Allah. But the aim isn't what you're asking for. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly tells us, ask me for everything. It's not because you want to achieve that particular thing. Rather, it's the proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you want to achieve. And because you attain that proximity, because of that, you become somewhat closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Nabi Isa, He says, Isa, pray to me for even the salt to go on your food. Sometimes we think it's trivial that we do dua for such things. I need salt on my food. Like, why would I need to? He says, no, Isa, pray to me even for the salt on your food, because I provide it to you. The aim isn't the salt. The aim is to do munajat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The aim, that's why the du'as, very often we don't get them accepted, because we're going for something which is not in our favor, because we're not mentally ready for that thing to happen. But if our aim is just to recite the du'a for the munajat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we begin to go over and transverse many different boundaries and attain this proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was before not there for us. I'll give you an example. Ayatollah Agha Rajab Ali Khayyat, one of the great urafa that passed, wasn't an alim, wasn't a scholar, a Hawza student or anything like that. He was a tailor, Khayyat. He was a tailor. But the ulama, the maraji, they would go and sit with him to attain spiritual advices, nasiha. He would give them advices and tell them what to do. And he'd achieved this status that he'd achieved through tazkiyatun nafs, through purification of his soul, just staying away from that which is haram and fulfilling his wajibat. He says, after 40 years of tazkiyatul nafs, I'd achieved many heights. I'd achieved many karamat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And amongst all the different blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given me as a result of my a'mal, as a result of staying away from haram, he says that one day I thought to myself, you know what? Today I'm going to pray salah purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Purely for the sake of Allah. So 40 years of, Allah says, no, today I'm not going to ask for anything. I'm just going to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because I believe Him worthy of prayer. Recite salawat, please.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So I'm going to pray to Him because I believe Him worthy of worship. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so He says, whatever the salah was, Ja'far Tayyar, Turuqat salah, whatever. He says, I recited it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, that night in a mukashifa, I saw the divine light. And the voice came to me, Chera dir Ahmadi. What took you so long? What took you so long to achieve this 40 years of tazkiyatul nafs? He's achieved all those things that we want, to see the barzakh reform, to see all of these karamat that he has, to pray for someone and their dua, and your dua is accepted, to recite over something and the person gains shifa from it. He says, for 40 years I had all of this. One day I decided just to pray for the sake of Allah, not to want anything in return. And the reply came, Charadir already. What took you so long to achieve this level, this understanding that you don't worship for something? You worship because you believe Him worthy of worship. You don't do dua because you want something. You do dua so you can just converse with Him, an excuse just to speak with Him. When you're in love with someone, or when you want to befriend someone, or you want to be in the company of certain individuals, you try and do certain actions that will somehow, in some way, get those individuals to speak to you. You'll maybe ask a question that you already know the answer, but you just want them to look at you. You just want them to acknowledge your existence. You just want them to say, oh yes, and so that you feel that this person who you love, who you want this person to acknowledge your existence, you just want them one time just to look at you and acknowledge. It's like the example of going to visit famous ulama. You go to Iran and you see the Rahbar, you see Ayatollah Khamenei. Now you're there in the crowd amongst millions of people, and there's those people that are close to him, those that are sitting on stage with him, but you just sitting there in the crowd. All you want is for him just to look at you, just for him to look at you and acknowledge that you're there. And if he was to do such a thing, just to look at you, acknowledge your existence, how would you feel? That sense of elation that you would feel. And then amongst that crowd, you try and do something, maybe ask a question, something in order to get that look from him. It's the same with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, in reality, the salt that goes on my food is only from Allah, but I can go and pick it up from there. But if I sit down and I say that, oh Allah, provide me the salt on my food, provide me, with this opportunity, now the aim isn't the salt, because I know I'm going to get it anyway, I can see it in front of me. But the aim is the proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The aim is just to converse with Him, so that just for a second He looks towards us. Just for a second. And even that momentary focus on us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so much to change our perception. 40 years of tazkiyat al-nafs. And just one time he prayed a salah just for Allah. And the voice of the divine came, Chadir, O my dear. What took you so long? This is that state of realization. So when we do dua, the aim is not what we're asking for. Rather, the aim is proximity to Allah. And when we begin to ask purely for the proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then wallah, all the things that we are asking for, they'll be irrelevant in our eyes. We won't even ask for them. You know, think about all the things that we ask for, that we constantly knock on Allah's door for. Rizq, our children, wealth, some sort of, something related to the material world, health, all of these things. But yet, when we go to the dua of Rajab that we recite for 29 or 30 days constantly, Ya man yu'ti man sa'ala, Ya man yu'ti man lam yas'alhu wa man lam ya'rifhu, tahannunan minhu wa rahmah. Oh, the one that gives to the one that asks from him. Oh, the one that gives to the one that does not ask from him. And oh, the one that gives to the one that does not even acknowledge his existence. Tahannunan minhu wa rahmah. He's going to give you it regardless of whether you want it or not. What is written for you is there. So now work towards something higher. It is the lowest form, or the lowest form of dua is to ask for material, food, clothing and such like. Rather, trying to attain that proximity to Allah through asking for those things that will draw me nearer to Him. That's what we need to be asking for. And then we ask for only the material things. And we ask with such arrogance. This point that I mentioned yesterday and the day before, that we ask with such arrogance that we don't even realize. And in dua iftitah, this is something that we reiterate in front of Allah. We admit to this fact. We say to Allah, فَلَمْ يَمْنَعُكَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ رَحْمَةِ لِي وَالْإِحْسَانِ إِلَيّْ وَتَفَضَّلِي عَلَيَّ بِجُودِكَ وَكَرَمِكَ. Says, even though I've done all of this, forgetting you, turning away from you, not acknowledging your existence, not doing anything, none of, all of that, but still, you have not stopped from bestowing your favors on me. You have not stopped from putting your mercy on me, allowing me to live. Sometimes I don't think of it as a mercy, but rather I think of it, as something maybe, that's from my achievement. But everything is mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fact that I'm breathing, the fact that I'm, able to think, my heart is beating, it's all a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My illness is a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't think of it like that. We don't think of the illness as a refinement, as a penance for our sin. Rather, we think of it as a burden. One of the Urafa, they say that he went home and he said to his wife that, bring something so that we can eat. And his wife turned to him and said, we haven't got any food in the house. We haven't had any food. We don't have any food to eat. How would I have reacted, or how would we have reacted to that reply? And how does the awliya of Allah, one of the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, react to that reply? He says, okay, if we have no food, then that's fine. Bring the lantern so that we may spend the night in ibadat. She turns around to him and she says that we didn't have enough money to buy oil for the lantern, so we've got no light for the night. He says that this was the most blessed night of my life. Because Allah tested me with two ni'mah. The one of food and the one of light. Now we think of it like, That's crazy. Why in the world would anyone want to, believe that this is some sort of ni'mah from Allah, or this is some sort of blessing from Allah? But even the removal of ni'mah is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We just need to, rethink the thought process and how we view things in our lives. That all those times of complaining, there's so many beautiful stories of the Urafa. One of the ulama went to meet the Urafa, and he says, I went to sit with him, and he says, I saw that in the middle of the night, when he stood for Salatul Lane, he went out towards the water. It was pitch black. But he says that the water started glowing for him. So he walked straight towards it, knowing where the water was, and he did his wudu and he came back. So the alim says to him that this karama that you have, that this water glows for you in the middle of the night, that all these things happen. How is it that you attained it? He said, it's difficult, you won't be able to do it. He says, still, tell me, I'm going to try. He says that for 40 days, stop complaining about things. Stop complaining about things. Whatever it is, ill health, weather, whatever, don't complain. Know it is from Allah and accept it is from Allah and be happy that it's from Allah. So just that. No special dhikr, no special namaz, no special long sajda, no special taweez. No, just don't complain. So he says, I did it. For 40 days, I didn't complain about anything. Didn't complain about anything. Food was hot or cold, didn't complain. Too much chili, not enough chili, didn't complain. Water was warm or cold, didn't complain. My car didn't complain. Whatever, I didn't complain about anything. For 40 days I didn't complain. Says when this period passed, I too, when I started waking up for Salatul Layl, the water began to illuminate for me. And I started to go towards it in the night, and I would see certain things that others couldn't see. I would understand certain things that others couldn't understand. Yet he reached that level of ma'rifah. Through what? Through not complaining. He says one day, after having this ability for some time, I came out my house, and it was very hot on the day, and I said, what a hot day. How hot is it today? Since the next morning, the karama was gone. Says, I went to the Arif, I said to him that this ability has gone from me. Turns around and says, did you complain about something? He says, I didn't complain about something. He says, no, you must have said something. He says, yes. The other day when it was very hot, I came out my house and I said that it's so hot today. He says, there you go. That is why Allah removed that karama, that ability from you. Smallest things are what can raise us and what can drop us. But we don't think about it. When we're in tune with our spirituality, we realize, a person who is a regular at the gym, or a person who is an expert in a field, on the zahir, for example, a doctor, on the zahir, for me and you to see someone with slightly yellowing eyes, it doesn't really matter. He needs to get more sleep. For a doctor, there's 1,000,001 things that open up in their minds, that they think of various reasons, and there are various causes, and it could be a precursor to various different things. And so now, when they look at it, small action, when I eat something sugary, so someone who knows the effects of sugar, they're not going to eat it, the amount that I'm eating, because they know the effect of it. The same with our spirituality. The smallest thing, it alters us towards Allah, away from Allah. Constantly we have this movement. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll elaborate a bit more on it, if I remember, of the story of Mir Damad and the mutashabih apple. That even those things that are mutashabih, they make us, that are neither, you're not sure whether it's halal or haram, it makes us fall up or down in our spirituality. And we don't realize it. We just consume so many random things, and we just don't know whether it's halal or haram. It's mutashabih, it's okay. Maybe they fry it in separate oil. going back to the question that was asked yesterday. Inshallah, they have only Ahl Kitab working there. And we do everything on the basis of inshallah, shak, possible, and because we can't ascertain it's actually haram, so the fiqh says it can be considered tahir. Everything is tahir until you confirm that it is haram. So now, we go around and we eat all these things, but they all have an effect in some way, some shape or form. And one of the main effects it has is our du'as are accepted. When we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our du'as are accepted. And there are certain actions that we do that remove our ability for du'a. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he says that your hearts have committed treachery in 8 things. In 8 things you have been treacherous. That is why that your du'as are no longer being accepted. That's the reason why your du'as are not being answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are those 8 things? It says that the first is that you recognize God, but you don't fulfill His duties. You recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you don't fulfill His right. What is His right? Imam Sajjad says in Risalat al-Huquq that the right of Allah is the greatest right of all of them. And from amongst His right, the greatest right is that you do not attribute anyone to Him. Do not bring a sharik with Him. Do not commit shirk. Do not commit polytheism. You don't do, and I spoke about, shirk al-khafi the other day. Shirk al-jali is the open shirk, like I worship an idol, or I say an imam is Rabb, or an imam is Khaliq, or Razik. You have these nutters that say these things nowadays. And so, you have all of these. Or then the shirk al-khafi, the hidden shirk, that's the scary one. That's the one where I stand to pray and my mind wanders somewhere else. That is hidden shirk. Imam Khomeini said the other day, they considered this to be shirk. If your mind strays to anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a higher level from amongst the urafa. But that's where we have to try and achieve, that's where we have to try and be. Because when we achieve that, when we get to that level, that's when we can be ready to meet our Imam. That's when we can be ready to meet Allah. That's when death isn't a scary prospect. That's when Fustu wa Rabbil Ka'bah comes to our lips. When we achieve that level. Even if I give something more priority over my salah. امتحنوا شيعتنا عند الثلاث. Test our shi'as at 3 times. عند مواقيت الصلاة كيف محافظتهم. Test them at the time of salah, see how they preserve it. What are our shi'as doing at the time of salah? Are they too busy eating and breaking their fast or preparing to pray salatul maghrib? امتحنوا شيعتنا عند الثلاث. The 6th Imam says. So what are they doing at the time of salah? Are they watching the game and saying that I'll watch it after, I'll pray at the break? Are they watching the cricket and saying I'll watch it during the tea break? He says, no, this is shirk al-khafi. That I put something above Allah. Anything. My job, my children, my home, anything that gets placed above Allah, and I do not fulfill the right of Allah on the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked me to do, I've committed shirk. Allah says pray at this time. I delay hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and I pray later. For those 3 or 4 hours, those time, according to the ulama, that time is haram. That you're spending doing anything other than the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first thing is, Imam Ali says your du'as are not accepted because you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you recognize Him, but you don't give Him His right. Says you believe in the Messenger of Allah, but you don't follow his sunnah. How many sunnahs have we killed? I said the other day, the reason for Karbala, one of the causes of Karbala was highlighted in the letter Imam al-Hasan writes to the people of Basra. عَلَى وَإِنَّ السُنَّةَ قَدْ أُمِيتَتْ وَإِنَّ الْبِدْعَةَ قَدْ أُحْيِيَتْ. that you should know that the sunnah has been killed and bid'ah has become rife within society. It's a reason, it's a cause for the degradation of society by doing certain actions, by killing the sunnah of the Prophet. And the Holy Prophet used to be kind, we're filled with hate. The Holy Prophet would not speak lies, we're constantly lying. The Holy Prophet, one of his sunnah was the beard, we're debating whether we should shave or not. All of these things that we have, these are the reason our du'as are not accepted. The third reason Amir al-Mu'mineen says, you read his book, but you don't act upon it. You read the Quran. Oh, you should, I should put this in a caveat in our lives. You should be reading the Quran, and if you are reading the Quran, and then you violate it, you don't follow it. This is the reason that one of the reasons, is probably a precursor to this, is you don't read the Quran, and that's why your du'as are not being accepted. And then when you do read the Quran, you're not following it, that's why your du'as are not being accepted. How is it possible that I could be a follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen and not love the recitation of the Holy Quran, or not have any sort of connection with the Holy Quran? Why is it that this distance has been created? And the Quran will complain on the Day of Judgment. It will say, in hadha al-Quran, this Quran, it will say that this ummah, oh Allah, this ummah, it's left me alone. They didn't come and pray, recite to me, nothing. They just left it. And then it's even worse when a person can't recite the Quran. They forget how to recite the Quran. And there's no shame in learning how to recite the Quran again. And then if I know how to recite it, there's no shame in going and learning how to recite the Quran properly. Because there is reciting of the Quran, and then there's reciting of the Quran properly. I gave a few examples the other night as well, how Sin and Sad mixed up can change the whole meaning. Instead of saying, oh Allah send the blessings upon Ali Muhammad by saying, Salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, instead we say Salli with the Sin, we say, oh Allah kill Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Because we don't pronounce the Sad. So these are like essential facts. So when we're reciting the Quran, we need to be able to recite it properly. And in addition to be able to reciting it properly, we should be reciting it regularly. The fourth thing is that you say that you are afraid of God's punishment. We say it all the time. We have all these things. I'm afraid. No. I don't want to go to hell. Am I really afraid? That's only I know. The fact that I commit sins and the fact that I constantly forget my duties to Allah highlights and bears testimony to the fact that I don't actually fear hell. I don't actually fear Him. Rather, actually, it could even bear testimony to the fact that I don't really believe He exists. Because if I knew that He existed, then there wouldn't be this debate of should I pray now or should I do this? Or there wouldn't be this debate of should I pray or not? Or there wouldn't be this, should I commit this sin or not? There wouldn't be this paradox in my life if I really believed He existed. It says that you say that you believe in the punishments of God, but you do actions that draw that punishment near to you. You say you believe in Him, but you commit certain acts that bring that punishment towards Him. You lie, you do riba, you do haram, you eat haram, you don't concentrate, you listen to music, you don't observe hijab, you don't pray, you don't do all of these things. You do these actions that draw His punishment towards you. The fifth reason, he says that you say that you yearn for His reward. You say that you want to be in Jannah. You want to be close to Him. You believe in all of that. But you do things that keep it away from you. You act in a way that keeps away that adab from you. That keeps away that thawab, that Jannah from you. You act in a certain way. You commit those harams. But on one tongue I'm saying, Ya Allah, please give me Jannah. But at the same time, I'm jealous of someone, or I've got pride in my heart, or I'm angry. You know, what is the lowest form of pride? You know, a person will not enter into heaven with even one sand's grain worth of pride in their heart. This is what the narration says. Teacher of Akhlaq says, what is the lowest level of pride? Says, even if you are proud of the laces that are in your shoes, says that pride will not let you enter into heaven. This is why, you know, the dua, Allahumma dhalla nafsi fi nafsi. Allah, make me humiliated within myself. That even if I say, you know, my laces, they're made of a better material, you know, that's why they don't break. That pride over the laces of my shoes is what will stop me from getting. And I've got pride in the way I look, the pride in the way I can, you know, I don't know, do certain things, the pride in my occupation, the pride in my wealth, the pride in my education, the pride in my children. And still I hope to maybe enter into heaven one day. The sixth thing is that you enjoy His blessings on a daily basis, but you don't express your gratitude. You enjoy blessings, the ability to breathe, eat, anything in your life, everything is a blessing from Allah. You enjoy His blessings, but you never thank Him for it. You're negligent of it. And when you thank Him, He gives you more. I said the other day, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. You thank me, I'll give you more. I'll give you much more. But we enjoy all His blessings, but we don't thank Him for it. You know, on one side is, at the start I said that Allah says to Nabi Isa that, Isa, pray to me even for the salt on your food. And there I am, putting lots of salt, but not even thanking Him for it. There I am, utilizing all the ni'mat of Allah, but never thanking Him for it. The ulama, they would, I think either Hasnain Zaidi, this story is a truth, either Hasnain Zaidi or Ayatollah Jawadi, that he talks to the fruit. He talks to the thing that he's about to eat. That look at you, look at the creation of Allah, how Allah has made you for my consumption, how it is, how sweet you are, what's different. In order so that he becomes cognizant of the fact of how this ni'mah reached him. The farmer that planted it, the sun, the rain, everything that went through the whole process that Allah has placed. And then for me to get it, and for me to eat it, for me to benefit from the water inside it, from the sugar inside it, from the fiber inside it. All of that. But I don't have that sort of cognizance. I think, you know, what I've got in my life is enough. It's from me, I did it. I've got this chip on my shoulder. And I achieved it. Through my own thing. My children did this because I sent them to the school. No. I didn't achieve anything in my life except that which Allah allowed me to achieve. And so this, on top of it, from the, you know, I did not achieve except that which Allah had ordained or allowed me to achieve. This is directly connected to Allah. This means our ability to achieve is limitless. Our ability to progress is limitless. Because the soul is connected to the divine. The divine is infinite. The soul by its nature is infinite. It can continue to develop over and over and reach new levels of kamal, new levels of perfection. And no matter how much you try, you will never be able to achieve the full ability that Allah has given. The soul is infinite. Our time is finite. We often get bogged down. We start saying, no, I'm too old, or I know I flunked this class, I can't do it, or I didn't, you know, I've already gone past it, I didn't pass it. I really did want to do this, but, you know, I don't want to go any further, or, you know, I don't think I could learn how to recite the Quran, or I don't think I could do Salatul Layl. That is stagnation. That is what will cause our destruction. The time you realize that you are limitless is when you will realize that the whole world is your oyster and you can do anything that you want to do as long as you put your mind to it and you use Allah as the one that to help you. You don't look towards others to help you. You can be whoever and however great you want to be, as long as you're connected with Allah, because we are limitless. Just our time is finite. Just our time on earth is finite. He says that you enjoy His blessings, you don't express your gratitude. You are commanded to be the enemies of shaitan. Reasons, Amir al-Mu'mineen is listing reasons why du'as are not accepted. Why it is there's certain diseases we have in our hearts that stop Allah, that makes Allah stop our du'as from being accepted. You know, when people say my du'a is not accepted, there's certain things, you know, I do all this du'a in my life, I've still got this problem and stuff. Here Amir al-Mu'mineen is listing 8 reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reject our du'as. He says, you are commanded to be the enemies of shaitan, but you do things to befriend him. You're commanded to be his enemy, but you befriend him all the time. You do things that make him happy. And by the way, you know, shaitan is not locked up in this month. Well, people often say that, oh, shaitan is locked away in Ramadhan. No, this is metaphorical. He has less power on us for a reason. The reason he has less power on us is because we're not eating all the haram that we're usually eating, and we're keeping our stomachs pure. And through hunger, Allah says, I'll give man certain abilities. He will draw near to me. He will begin to speak the truth. He will not care whether he lives in poverty or rich or in wealth. Sorry, he will become free of everyone else. This is the result of hunger. Not because shaitan's locked away, because it goes against the adalat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the Quran says, He says that give me life until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah said, no, I give you life until that's known time. And then He says that, well, I swear by your might and your majesty that I will misguide all of them. I will sit upon Sirat al-Mustaqim and misguide all of them, except for your ibad al-mukhlisin. Except for those ibad that are mukhlis, that are sincere, that have khulus. And by the way, the khulus, we say, you know, he's mukhlis, he's sincere. I did it with the purest of intention. No, khulus is the highest realm in spirituality. We have levels of irfan, levels of spirituality. The highest level of spirituality is khulus, where everything I do is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the ways to achieve that level of khulus is through fasting. وَالصِّيَامَ تَثْبِيتًا لِلْإِخْلَاصِ, says Sayyida, and Allah has prescribed siyam for you as a fostering of your sincerity, in order to create that sincerity within. So he says you're commanded to be the enemies of shaitan, but you befriend him through your actions. You constantly turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The 8th reason for why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rejects the dua of a person is that He says that you place the defects of people before your eyes, but you are negligent of your own. You keep everyone's bad points in front of yourself. Fulan did this person has this problem, this person has that problem, this person is like this. But you're unaware of your own defects. That this person has this problem, this person has that problem. You know, these people, they're like this or that, but I'm unaware of my own issues, my own problems, my own diseases. I'm too quick to point, but don't realize that 3 fingers point back at me. I'm too quick to highlight the issues within others. But I don't realize that I myself have so many defects. I myself am riddled. And what a paradox that I send la'an upon the enemies of Ali Muhammad, but I still possess their characteristics. What a paradox that I say la'an on Yazid, but I na'udhu billah drink. Or I say la'an on Yazid, I na'udhu billah have cards in my house. The hearts, spades, all those cards. Even though I don't play games of gambling, they're the tools of gambling, thus considered haram. I claim to hate Yazid and I send la'an upon him, but I have takabbur in my heart. I think myself better than others. I claim to do la'an upon Yazid, but I have those issues of anger, those issues of looking with my eyes at things I shouldn't be looking at, with listening to those things I shouldn't be listening to. I said la'an on Yazid, but I enjoy listening to music. I said la'an on him for all the things that he possessed. But what I don't realize when I said la'an on him, it comes all the way back on me, because I'm sending la'an on those traits. Because in Islam, we hate the sin, not the sinner. We hate the sin, not the sinner. Because everything was created in perfection. Everything was created in perfection. Their actions made it imperfect. Thus, we send la'an upon the actions of an individual, not the individual. This is why swearing is haram in Islam. This is why sab is haram in Islam. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Battle of Siffin, Malik al-Ashtar, Hajar ibn Adi. These are the companions. Malik, if Malik was a mountain, he would be the highest of mountains. The aql could not scale Malik. This is what Imam Ali says. Hajar ibn Adi, that Hajar ibn Adi, that if you go for the ziyarah of Sayyidah Zainab and you don't go for the ziyarah of Hajar ibn Adi, your ziyarah is not accepted of Sayyidah Zainab. These two companions, mountains of ma'rifah of their Imam. Battle of Siffin, they reach the camp of Muawiyah. The enemies begin to swear at Imam Ali. Hajar ibn Adi, Malik al-Ashtar, they swear back in the defense of Imam Ali. They do what? They swear back in the defense of their Imam. Because the enemies swore at their Imam. When they return, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, it has come to my knowledge that you swore, you used bad words, you swore at some of my enemies. So Ya Ali, they were swearing. Don't be amongst the people of Sab, the people of swearing. If I find that you do such an action again, know that you will be far from me. One of the companions of the fourth Imam, he was always by the side of the fourth Imam constantly, throughout his life. They say he was like joined to the Imam. Everywhere the Imam went, he knew the Imam, he saw the Imam, he was with the Imam. He had ma'rifah of the Imam. He's walking with his slave and he's walking with the Imam. He calls his slave, slave, doesn't answer. He says, slave, doesn't answer. Slave, doesn't answer. He says, Yabna Fa'ila. He says, the son of a woman of disrepute. The Imam stops, looks towards his companion. He said, what did you say? So I said, he's the son of a woman of ill repute. Imam says, were his parents not married according to their faith? So, yes, they were. So why is it that you use this word for him? He says, Imam, he's my slave, Jewish slave. Imam says, Were they married according to their faith? Yes. So why is it that you swore at him in this way? Imam says, until I am alive, never come near me again. The Imam banishes him from his side. One swear word, and the Imam banishes him from his side. Says until, and the man died, and the Imam was angry with him. How many swear words? How many swear words do I hear from the mouths of my children and I just let them go? How many do they hear from my mouth? In Islam, we hate the sin, not the sinner. Everything is created in perfection. Their actions make them imperfect. You know, we have this hatred for certain animals, like, you know, this is a pig or this is a dog. And we're like, there's a pig and a dog, we've got to shoot it. People go hunting here, even here in America, and you know, some of the brothers, one of the sisters said, do you want to go hunting? I was like, okay, what are we hunting? And they were like, pig. And I was like, it's najis, wild boar. So najis, yeah, no, we're just hunting it for sport. It's haram. To hunt for sport is haram. You can only, even if an animal comes on your land, you know, and like back home, a pig comes anywhere near, bang, they shoot it through the head. Not try and scare it away. This is haram. This is dhulm. We will be answerable for this on Yawm al-Qiyamah. A spider we see and we just squash it. We will be answerable for it on Yawm al-Qiyamah. This is a creature of Allah. Why did you do dhulm on it? It wasn't trying to kill you. An ant, you crush it. It's a creature of Allah. Why did you kill it? That's only an ant. And this is takabbur. This is pride. And the people of pride on the day of judgment will be turned into ants. And they will be forced to be crushed under the feet of the people. See, takabbur doesn't just apply to the people, it applies to the creatures of God. Yes, a pig is najis according to the sharia of Allah. Yes, a dog is najis according to the sharia of Allah. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. You touch it, you can't pray. Yes. You've got to wash. It's haram to eat. It's in fact bad to have in the house. It chases away the angels of rahmah from a house. But it's not bad. It's created by Allah in perfection. So then who am I to then try and kill a fly, kill something that I don't like, kill an animal? And then killing a human being is something totally different. Islam says don't even cut down a tree. Now the Prophet, we have a hadith, if we get time we'll talk about the hadith in regards to the environment. Says don't cut down a tree. It is haram for you to cut a tree. And then in addition to cutting down a tree, says, you know, don't do it, it's haram. And here we are littering, throwing, using polystyrene that takes 450 years to decompose on a landfill site. You know, we don't want to use something that is renewable, something that is recyclable. So these are things we will be answerable. فأخرجت الأرض أثقالها فقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها. That day when the earth will begin to reveal, bring forth its secrets, its complaints. Man will cry at what has happened to her, and she will begin to speak of that dhulm that was done to her, and commanded by what her Lord had told her to say. We have a responsibility to the environment. My time is up. I'm sorry I went over slightly. We have a responsibility. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first and foremost, gives us the tawfiq to be able to, first to me, to be able to act upon that which I've said. Secondly, to you to act upon that which you have heard. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives our sins, the sins of our parents. Those of our parents that are alive, we pray that Allah gives them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them a place next to Ali Muhammad and Jannah. Those who are ill, we pray that Allah gives them shafa'ah. Those who are dead, we pray that their debts are cleared. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time, and allow us to be amongst these true muttaqins, true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that the brothers and sisters have brought. Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala
اللهم صل على محمد